don't have my Bluetooth hooked up, so now we have Bluetooth hooked up. Test 1, 2. Audio. Okay, so I'm gonna go hop on here and be extra safe and see if I can figure out if this is. Just click on this live real quick. Aw, my photo didn't upload. That sucks. So we will unmute. See if I can figure out how to do that real quick. This function here. Sweet. All right, cool. All right, so let's move this 393 and this RG-400 out of the way. I've got several things that I got to get done, and not a crazy amount of time to get it done. Okay. Ain't too heavy. It's just awful as it is. Still heavy, but had like 2 hands to work with it, and we were, I don't know, just in a good place. And yeah, it'd be fine. Man, it's annoying sometimes. There's the first end we're going to be working with. We'll pull this down here. So I don't know how much you guys can see. Yeah, that's fine. We're going to be putting 3 more of these ends on, but probably 2 more today. I don't know how much I'm going to get accomplished. Absolutely going to do the best I can to get it finished, but it's just a lot of work. So what I'm doing now is just a bit of shaping. You just want to keep it somewhat straight. It don't have to be absolutely perfect, but you do want to straighten it out. Now, these are our parts and our components for this build. Stuff them out. You guys can see everything. I don't need that. I'll use this over here. There's one. I need to grab this one. Go. Done. Now we got to grab some stuff, some parts for this build. Let's make this happen. Let me hop in on Facebook real quick and say hello to you guys on Facebook. All right, so there. This is just so I can respond to you guys easier. That. Not what I selected. Cool. Now as you can see everybody's comments on YouTube and on Facebook, and without having to jerk my head way back up here where I cannot see. So this is going back over here with that. I think we'll probably zoom. I know I'm going to regret it as soon as I try to zoom in, so I'm not going to zoom in. All right, but this is what we're going to be working on. So let's get to work and get to cutting. So I got to grab some parts. I want to hit on the top edge of this piece, and that's actually pretty awesome where that's cut. Heck, freaking yeah, that's awesome. That'd be great. All right. Now I gotta see what fits on here. That fits there. Next. That fits there. So these two will be set over here and saved for later. Next, we need our marking tool. I'll do that. Now I need to grab, what else do I need to grab? Cut, mark, and now I need to create my flange. What do I want to create a flange with? Let's see about this. This is going to be for the later part of the flange right here. The earlier part of the flange is going to be this right over here. So the tools that it's going to take to do this job, if you guys were to say run to Home Depot and go to the store and be like, I need the parts I need to do this job. You could buy, I don't really have the one exactly for this one, but you could buy the $300+ tool for the job. But I like to be a little unorthodox, and I also like to make this stuff where it's not so scary for you guys. So I grabbed pliers, needle nose with a smooth edge, just something with a smooth edge, 2 pairs of crescents, a pipe cutter. You don't even have to have this. This is just for cutting a straight line. A hawkbill razor, but you can get just any knife and it'll work fine. It'll be a little bit harder, but not much. And that's literally what I use to do this job. Now, you would need some sort of a torch right here, something like this. It don't have to be this special. It can be just your traditional little can, kind of like this one right here. I turn it on. Something like that will work just fine. So, and then of course, the other thing you'll need is this cutter right here. I'm not going to use it because I've already done it. I cut this part right here with that, and it did an excellent job. And then if you're going to go the extra mile like I am, you're going to use solder. It doesn't matter how thick your solder is. You just want rosin core, and you want to use at least 60/40, maybe 63/37 would be fine. But that's some of the stuff you're going to be using. Well, hey, Cletus, hope you're doing well. So I'm going to move this over a little bit and get this camera in a better spot so you guys can see all of it. Maybe my head won't bump this too much. We'll see how it goes. So I'm going to be working left, right, and all kinds of movement on this wire. So just be prepared to have my head in the way for part of this build, but that's what happens when you're putting something like this on. All right. So the first measurement I'm going to do, I'm going to actually use a caliper. So I'm going to show you guys how this works. If you have an unknown connector, you don't know what the heck you're doing, and you want to figure out how should I cut this. What I do is take a caliper right here. I've already confirmed by previous measurements that the end of this contact ends right up in the top of this piece right here. So there's no real serious depth. Excuse me, I apologize. I lied to you. The end of this contact ends right at this edge right here. I'm sorry. So I'm going to do all my measurements based off of this stopping right here. Then from that point, there is a rather long bullet that goes all the way up inside here. See where it stops? Right at the edge of this flange right here. And it runs all the way up in here. And then the bullet goes in there for the center bullet. So for my measurements, pretty much it's going to be at the edge of this. But that also kind of goes for the full length of this. Now, that is not true for other connectors, so don't get every connector. This is what D1 showed me how to do, and this is how it always works. No, it's not. So I like to use millimeters just because it's a little bit more precise. You could, of course, use your fractional measurements, and that would be fine. So I'm just running this piece up to here. I need to actually include that. So I'm including the O-ring. So I want to get to that inside ring right inside there where that flange is, because that's where this rubber seal is going to sit. I don't know if I'm on the shot or not. Looks like I am. Yeah, we're good. I keep forgetting how zoomed out I am. So it'll go sit right inside that O-ring right there. So that's around 22 mil. This flange, the way it's set up, looks a little bit bigger than what I would normally do. So it instead of being right here in the center, it's just a hair up within about, I'd say, a millimeter or two. So I may have to, at some point in time, cut part of this flange back. And I might have to deal with that in a little bit. But we will cross that bridge when we come to it. We're not going to worry too much about it. So check our shape. Our shape's fine. We have a little bit of overlap for this connection, but I don't want to try to push that overlap too much. So also I want to look and see where I'm at that 22 mil. If you look, I'm not sure if you guys can see this or not with the shadowing, but there's a dip here, and a dip here. So what I'm actually going to do is move about a millimeter or so down, just a smidge lower, right in there for where I'm actually going to make my measurement. Um, just so I hit on the high edge of this corrugation. All right. What's up, Peter? Hope you're doing well. Had somebody. Hang on, I got somebody message. Let me make sure nobody's jumping in on this. So what I'm gonna do is do this connection right here. I gotta pop up something just for this customer. What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. If you guys got questions, y'all feel free to ask. Let me send a photo. Nope, that's not what I need. Right here, mine. Screenshot that right there. There, here, like that, like this. All right, back to work. So remember, high edge right here on this edge of this contact. So what I'm going to do is I'll take a knife right here, and I'm just going to cut it pretty much just right in there. Doesn't have to be perfect, because my goal, if all goes well, is for this to actually help me. It doesn't always work. Sometimes it works excellent. Sometimes it works very poorly. Uh, don't rely on it for like critical applications. But I'm gonna try it and see if I can make it work, because it doesn't really hurt anything if it doesn't work. So it is close, but no, let's see, not that time. I have to be a little bit more, I guess, aggressive whenever I tighten it up, and I was not quite aggressive. So what happens if you don't line it up? It kind of walks up a little bit. Again, doesn't really matter, since when there's such a small amount of material to cut, it's actually really easy to cut it with a knife. I'm going to go ahead and sharpen this just a little bit and see if this will cut a little better. Um, I don't really know if I'm doing this wrong. I don't care. Any of you knife sharpening dudes who I just literally insulted, I apologize, but I just want this to cut. I don't. My elbow might bump the camera, so I apologize if it does, but I got to stay on my edge. But hello, YouTube. Hello, Facebook. Hope you guys are doing well. We're again, like I said, if it doesn't line up exactly right or perfect on my cut, then all I'm going to do is go back. And can't push too hard when you're doing this. If you cut too deep, then you'll just cut through the jacket. So, O-ring that was down here, right on the edge of this flange. I need to make sure it doesn't block me too much. Let me add some lubricant to it so I don't cut it on accident. Oh, that sucks. So this is super sharp. You got to be careful with it. So I messed up a little bit whenever I'm putting this O-ring on. You got to watch it. So what I'm going to do is just grab a little piece of tape. So I cut the end of that. So it's super sharp. You got to be careful. So whatever. That's my mistake. Something you have to be careful with when you're working on this. It'll cut right. I don't cut myself often, but whenever it's something like that, it's definitely always a risk. Something I could have done is I could have used this as like a guide and popped it on over that edge. But again, that's the mistakes you make sometimes. Now I gotta see if I got some super glue in here. Give me just a smidge of a second. If I have anything here. It's such a perfect cut whenever it cuts like that I don't really, I'm not that concerned about it. So Let's but I need to keep working because this is holding me up. Oh, I know what I got. Let me grab this. Give me just 1 second. I gotta not bleed on camera. Facebook will block me. Get up here. A little higher. There we go. So I have those rags that I had before, and I just stuck them in a spot that I forgot about right here. So the hobo method, I don't know what you call it, hobo, wild, whatever, wild, weird, wonderful method that I've always found to do some quick field repair on your fingers is not one I recommend to follow, but I will be using it today. Yeah, be careful how tight you tighten it, because when you do, you'll make your finger go numb if you don't watch it. All right, so this is my little quick field repair so I can keep working, and I'll clean up afterward. Thumb repair. All right. Hey, I got a little protector now too. So, all right. Now that little escapade's out the way. So I'll have to cut this flange back. It is definitely a little high on the edge. So what's happened is it's down on this edge and it needs to go up. It needs to come down a little bit. Do I want to cut it on video or do I want to cut it back? I think I'll cut it back with just a pair of dikes. So there's two different ways I can do it. I can take a Dremel like this. So you guys real quick. A Dremel like this, put a cutting wheel on it and cut the booger back. Or I could do it I'm just making my mind up. Let me cut it with a Dremel. Might as well. It's going to save me a little bit of time anyway. So the way I'm going to keep the shavings out is you'll take just any material, don't matter what it is. You don't want to stick it in there too deep, but just poke it inside that connection. I'm going to pull this O-ring off and cut this back. So now the way I'm going to pull it off, I'm going to be a little bit more wary since I just cut my finger one time. And then I'll cut this to this top edge right here. So I'll show y'all how I do it with the Dremel because I haven't showed that in, I don't know, it's been a while since I showed y'all a Dremel video. I typically avoid the Dremel if I can help it, just because you'll have to see what I have to do next. And that is going to be to clear out my dielectric. I can show off my super good noise canceling speakers or headphones, whatever, microphone. I'm gonna pull this down because I dealt with this last time and it was not easy. Move this a little closer where I can get to it. Then I'll use it like this. So now here, what do you think the next step is? Obviously, protect your eyeballs. So for the guys, let me kill this stupid thing on YouTube. No thanks. Waving a hand, Peter. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate that. Thought I finished job. Yeah, I know, right? Freaking getting cut somehow. All right, waving a hand, 178. Hope you're doing well. I'm gonna check out 111 needle bender, waving a hand. Yeah, my little mandate. Yeah, exactly. All right. So let me scoot up real quick and be careful. So what I want to do is hit the hot top edge of this connection. Now, uh-oh. All right. So you got our trash in the middle. So I'm not going to pull that out just yet. So I'm going to change out and show you what I have to do to clean this up. It's not too much of an extra step, but I try to avoid it for videos because then you guys have to buy a Dremel tool or have to buy something else. And it just adds to the expense of me telling you what all you got to get. So if I can help it, I try to avoid this stuff. Not that it's a very difficult step. I guess you could do it with like a maybe a handheld wire brush, but to be honest, I really think you should have a Dremel if you're going to do this particular type of work. Uh, just because it's hard to clean up. And then other reasons I don't do this is it leaves all kinds of small residue on my bench. So I have to literally wipe my whole bench back down. I'm not super OCD, but if I got like small crap all over, it drives me nuts. Chuck, you did that just in time because somebody else just said they wanted it. Uh, Need that so you can keel and Cletus. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. I'll be throwing my ground plane up pretty soon. I've got to work on the tower this coming weekend. I was supposed to do it last weekend and the weekend before, but family things came and got in the way, unfortunately. I said, don't make a for sale post, guys, before you go live on the internet. It's probably a mistake. And my fingerprint scanning thumb just got ruined. Dang. I get somebody else wanting to buy that box, Chuck. All right. Next, so you just gotta go inside all of this material right here and clear it out. Alrighty. It's pretty well all cleaned out, but I usually take it a little bit further sometimes if I'm already got the Dremel with me. And what I'll do is I clean a little bit of the dielectric, not much, because I'll have to clean it again in just a minute. So pull, ta-da, nice and clean on the inside. And now, almost, now that I cleared, I deburred it a little bit so it won't cut me as easily. But still, you got to be careful. I don't get cut very often on wire, but if I do, it's usually when I'm not paying attention. It's kind of I think how it goes with everybody. I would assume. All right, looks like YouTube is messing up. I don't know why. Maybe I just paused it. It's not messing up. That's so annoying. Very end of the video. Sorry, I'm just trying to get on YouTube and get this thing playing. Now, line this up right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to dodge our fingers here. Stretch this up and over. Ah! Whatever. We'll have to risk our fingers. Risk it for the biscuit here, because that won't stretch wide enough. You just got to be careful. I wasn't careful. I got to keep my thumb down here, kind of risk the O-ring a little bit more than your fingers. It's better to have a cut up O-ring than it is to have a nice slice in your thumb. All right, so throw this trash away, get it out of our way, pull our O-ring down right here. Let's go ahead and reapply a little bit of lubricant since I've got a little bit of extra trash on my bench today. We want to make sure that none of that trash is going to hold us up from spinning properly on our O-ring. See if I've made any sort of mistakes with my measurements. Make sure this is going down far enough. So what has to happen is this right here is going to have to sit right here. And somehow, in the midst of my cutting, I didn't cut the jacket back far enough. So I need to hit the next. If I put the jacket back right there, this sits right there on the flange. No, I need to go back one more edge. So you see this edge right here, right on the base of this? There's another dip right here. So I'm just going to mark a line right there with my finger now. It ain't going to cut through the wire or nothing, but it will give me another chance to try and cut a straight edge. There's no data sheet on this specific wire or the specific connector because it's a brass connector and it's very unique. So it's my job to make sure I get it figured out. I've done a few of these, but if I was smart, I would have marked and written down my measurements, but it wouldn't make these videos any fun if I wrote everything down. Dang, that sharpener worked well. It ain't the best sharpener by any means. It's just a Milwaukee knife sharpener. But dang, this thing's nice. I ain't had this blade to sharpen a while. I was working with 1 5/8. I don't remember how long ago it was. It was a while. But man, it was a nightmare. This thing was dull. And this is my favorite knife. I've had this knife for years. I've got another one that's similar, but not the same. But I've had this knife for a long time, and I've always liked it. Just a little bit more over here. My unfortunately, when I can't jerk and like pull the wire around to myself, sometimes don't cut it as straight as I'd like. It's not that it matters, because I can always just cut it again. But it just slows my process down a little bit. Too bad. I'm gonna cut it down just enough to get past this edge. Watch y'all. Throwing the O-ring down on top, being careful not to cut myself. And then there we go. So on the base of this edge right here. Slide this over, make sure this flange bottoms out. But also, here's what bit me in the butt, I don't know, a couple months back. What happens, see if you look, this looks like it's pretty well solid right here, right? So if I start building my flange, I could build my flange, it's clamped over the edge, everything's working. Let me zoom in nice and close so you can see. It looks like it's nice and close, it's all good, right? But look at this. It needs to go up there. I measured for like an hour and was like, what the heck is wrong? It's like 5 millimeters off. And I measured that and it was 5 millimeters. All right. So, let me see. I can't type even. All right. We don't have to go to a traditional Band-Aid a little bit later. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to message guys. Got it. Done. Okay. Now we want to build a flange from here. So the way we build a flange is we just go around this edge take something with just a rounded edge like this, run all the way around here, right? And then the other thing I'm going to do is while I'm building this flange, I'm going to be careful to make sure this is held up high, and then also not to catch the corner of my hand. On the only other times I've cut myself or came close to cutting myself was in that exact situation. You find it natural to try to rest your hand on here. You can't do that. It's just too sharp. Now you could deburr it, but that's literally what I'm doing when I'm building the flange. So it's still a sharp edge. You're not going to get away from the fact that it's just super thin copper. It's just part of it. What I do, if I have any excess flange on the top edge, I'll just roll it a little bit right over top of the edge. Just a smidge. From there, there's a couple different tools you can use. I've used the knife, cut out the excess material inside. I've used some needle nose, and I've used a combination of both. So what I'm going to do is show you the combination of both. So I'm just going to go in here. Keep in mind that I'm going to try to remember that this knife is actually sharp instead of dull, and it will cut pretty well. So I got to watch how hard I bear down. I think I'm still in the shot with all this. Yeah, I am. Kind of getting a little wary about being zoomed out. All right, pull that excess material out. Uh, one of the biggest reasons you pull the extra material is to make sure you get a good seat on the shield. Waving a hand, 73 from Broad River. Hope you're doing well, man. So again, continuing forward, we're pulling material. We want to pull this dielectric out to the point where it's not going to get in the way of our flange. And also, an added bonus while we're doing that is any materials we may have built up and dropped in here on accident while we were working now get pulled out. So it's an added bonus of cleaning up the dielectric. So from here, the center conductor is good. What I do from here is I could seat this and this would be a completed connector. But I go a step further just because it is me and I want to be a little, maybe I'm choosing to be extra, maybe I'm whatever. Waving a hand, CC, hope you're doing well. Copy, keep messing up your tips. It definitely is easy to do. You got to be careful. Big fight, 406. Heck yeah, RC, feel free to come on by whenever. 259's all right. Just trying to stretch the leg on the 259. Nice. All right. Sorry, I was reading 157 and Cletus and stuff. So just to give you guys an idea, let's give you guys a sense of scale here. Let's go here. This is what's called a 7/8 EI. We're just throwing it together. It's not put together right. I'm just showing you. This is your traditional. Well, let's show you. Let's do it on a BNC. This is an SMA connector. This is a BNC connector. This is an in connector right here. This over here, I don't have the ring to go with it at the moment. I'll find one. Oh, let me just snag this one here. I'll just grab one of these. This is your UHF connector right here. This is a female version of your DIN connector right here. And then, of course, this is your inch and, your 7/8 EI here. And then if you want to go to its big brother, you could. This is your inch and 5/8 EI. That gives you an idea. So if you were to run a comparison, like we were talking about earlier, on a PL259 and a 7/8 CIA, that gives you just a little idea what the difference between the two is. There's a little bit of difference there. So now I've got to do some work. So I tried some heat before and it made some thermal expansion. I did it a different way and it didn't expand at all. So we're going to shoot for the different way. See what happens. So I used did I use my vise? I don't remember what I used. I believe I used my vise. So I'm going to reach over here and try not to torque my back, folding this thing with one hand. Pick it up. What's this heavy? Ugh, these. Oh, I know what I did. All right, cool. This right here. And then we grab this piece down here and get a hold of it. We'll dump that, whatever. And we stuck that thing full of water. That's what we did. So we got a nice, pretty sure this is how I did it. Well, you'll hear me crying the blues in a minute, saying it didn't work. If it didn't work. So I'm going to use this as a little mini spacer underneath here. See if that does the job. Looks like it's working. So from here, I'm probably going to burn some plastic, so I need a little bit more of a spacer. Stacking two of these. Might have to glue these together or something. I don't know. This is probably going to fall apart as soon as I put any sort of stress on it. So if I was smart, what I did would I would have glued this assembly together. Then when I added water on top. But I did not make a smart decision, and I do not have a good way to pour this back in here. But we're going to try to make a smart decision. Where's my... It's not wasting stuff here. This is not going to hold. As soon as I put any sort of pressure on it whatsoever, it's going to fall apart. So we're making a custom jig. Whenever you add lots of heat to any material, it doesn't bode well for it. So there's a lot of thermal expansion you have to deal with. So what I'm trying to do is trying to force local heating. And this stuff is, most of the time, it's going to be copper with a silver coating. So it's got to have a massively high thermal conductivity. So that means whenever you're working with it, it's going to have... All right. Y'all ratting people out in the comments. I ain't saying nothing. I ain't part of this conversation. All right. So I got my little hobo, little Ryobi hot glue gun. We're making a little custom jig. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up as a stand inside this water. And that's how I'll work with it. Maybe I'll be able to use it in the future. Maybe I won't. I don't care. I've got to do this for at least 3 connectors. So that is enough for me to make this custom jig. So I'll show you guys the extra effort that I put in on these. Not to try to get business, but this is what I would recommend to do even if you buy these connectors from me. Because it just makes sure that connection's nice and solid. Rather than have to worry about a spring connection, let me show you this. A spring connection like this, I can't even squeeze my other thumb, that relies on heat and thermal tension. So holding its tension with thermal expansion and everything. It has a bonded connection, and that's what I'm shooting for. All right, YouTube. I have not seen you guys' comments because I didn't click on it. All this safety. All right, y'all duke it out over there. Y'all having fun. It's all in fun, guys. This is literally what makes this stuff enjoyable. People enjoying each other's company and like actually making the hobby fun. It doesn't matter which side of the spectrum you're on. As long as you got somebody you enjoy it with, that's what matters. When it comes to the business aspect, I mean, it's just part of business. But for work, because I sell to all sorts of people. I sell to people doing this stuff commercially. I sell to people doing it as a hobby, and I sell to people doing it as a business and hobby. Business, I would say, would be a little bit different than somebody doing it commercial. All right, this booger's got to heat up, so I'm waiting on this thing. Taking me a minute. Let me see if my poor battery's dead. Nope, we're good. So this is actually pretty useful. I've got a different one that's actually plug in the wall, and it's supposed to be like 20 watt, and it takes like 10 minutes to heat up. And this one takes like 3 minutes to heat up. Chris, waving a hand from Florida. Hope you're doing well, man. Everybody else, hope you guys are doing well also. So I'm trying to clean off a little bit of this trash off my bench while I'm waiting on this thing to heat up. So this is all the copper dust you have to deal with when you're doing that razor blade option. What I'd like to do is this option right here. Just cut that booger flush. But this is just a regular PVC pipe cutter. You can get it at any Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. That's the material I recommend. So we got a little bit more heat on this thing. Not enough heat yet, but I'm gonna try to force it because I'm in a hurry. And then watch this thing be dry as a bone or not melted at all. As soon as I'm trying to bond these. Add some more material in the middle. And of course, if you guys ask, no, this is not the original purpose of what these things are built. These are standoffs for 1/2 inch hardline. And what they do is they line it up so you can cut a flush edge on that piece. I'm not using it for that purpose. I'm using it for something else. Ow, it's hot. Not that hot, but it's just hot enough to be like, yeah, I don't want that to stay on my hand for very long. That is an extra hot iron. Does a good job. I'm really happy with it. So now I'm gonna throw some water in here. Hopefully this thing will stay bonded and still. If it does, then we will have done our job. I'm being a little impatient by forcing it to cool off quickly. Um, Even hot glue, it kind of takes a minute for it to bond all the way through from one end to the other. As far as like cool off and harden and do what it needs to do. See if I push it around, see it kind of still wiggles. So I gotta let it sit there for a moment, and then we are gonna throw our piece in there. Again, gonna be a little impatient, but it's still pretty strong. Should do a good job. So now as soon as I put heat on this, let's see what it does. I'm gonna turn at a different angle. So this is not so bright for you guys. I think it will probably be a better view. And now I've got to grab a little bit of extra solder. So we'll go ahead and wrap some up. So the way I do this is just going to be wrapping material. Yeah, exactly. More on the radio, the merrier. So now I'm going to do something a little different real quick. So I'm going to pull this thing where the coax is in your guys' way, but you guys will have to deal with it because it's part of what I'm doing here. Rotate this down and over this way, and then this should be able to sit right here somewhat. Hopefully. I am balancing this on my knee a bit, so I have to manipulate it that way. We have some big old Dremel sitting in my way right now because of where I set this thing. Maybe I'll move it over here. Yeah. So now we'll stick that in there. Let that bugger preheat. Maybe you guys, yeah, you guys can see all that. I don't know what's going on. YouTube, sometimes it keeps, it's nothing to do with you guys. It's literally just my thing. All right. Let's heat this. That one's preheating over there. We're good to go. Now we're going to throw a little bit of solder just on the end of this connection. Make sure this thing's up to temperature. It is not. Turn this computer real quick. Flip this switch. I can't even reach it. There's a power switch over here. I got to flip. So this is just going to sit in there and preheat and connect to that connection. Next, we're going to go ahead and add some heat over here. And now, since that's bonding and doing what it needs to do, I got to set this booger back in here real quick. It's kind of precarious when you're standing up like this. They may make a preheat tool that preheats well and does it what it needs to do, but I currently don't own one of those. We're going to go deeper inside this connection. All right, that is done. So now we're going to add a little bit of heat here, a little bit of solder there. Try to get this to bond all the way around. I don't know if you guys can see what. No, yeah, my hand's in the way. Whatever. Not trying to be a pain, guys, but this part's kind of critical with how I do this. So now I need to get a pair of pliers. Just let that sit right there for a minute. Now I need my pliers right here. This is the only time I ever actually heat this connection up a lot. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. In the midst of doing all this, I wrapped my cables up, so I'll stick to that real quick. So, was it necessary to do that extra step? Not absolutely. But am I going to do it? Yeah, sure. If I can make it happen, I'm going to absolutely do that. So now, build my flange. From this point, let me zoom out real quick. This is not really a good time to Wait on the video. I gotta get this edge started. Back this off just a smidge. Add a little bit more. Sorry, I'm on a little time crunch. This is gonna pull off pretty quickly. Alright. Gonna line this up. Last piece is gonna be up here. Line. What's the center point? Oh, give me just a second. I gotta push it in. You know what this does? Sets everything in place. Whoops, almost. I'm in a bad spot. Like angle right here. Irritating. The lines. Whoa. Yeah. Now I don't have. I got this. So all I'm doing is I need to make sure this is fully seated. I could use this. Oh no, my band-aid's coming off. I don't need to open. Yeah. I just need you to disrupt you. There we go. Ta-da! That was a little bit annoying at the very end, but that's okay. Ta-da! That's how she works. So from here, let's say I put the other end on, the way it sets up, it'll go on like that. And that'll seat on over that body of that connector. That's how she sits. So now I got to do another one of these. Before this video is over, though, we're going to go ahead and take this connection and do the scary thing that you guys never like to see in the video. Maybe, yeah, maybe I love it. I don't know. But I don't like doing it. You try to pull the connector straight off. Don't wick it left and right. Don't jerk it up and down or nothing like that. But literally do whatever you can to try to pull the connector off. If you can't pull it off, you did a pretty good job. So now we'll shrink this booger down. We'll move this out of our way. My little jig worked out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it, except for now I got a container of water I got to deal with. I'll move this vise later, and we'll do the same. Do you guys want to see the same thing? You guys want to see me do this again, or would you guys like to see me do some RG-393 or some RG-400? So it kind of rolls as I'm shrinking it down. Lay the hand, troubleshooter. Hope you're doing well, man. But don't do that if you can't handle heat. Not a recommendation. All right. So she's locked in and everything's doing what it's supposed to do. So now, sending it off tomorrow. Cool. Oh, yeah. Heck yeah, man. Sounds good, man. let's go ahead and do another piece of 7/8. Might as well, since we're on the video. Let's make it happen. So all we're going to do, we're going to kind of push these two pieces down. I'm going to get some black tape. I'm going to get some black tape and I'm going to tie them down right here just so they're out of my way. Is that far enough? Did I move the camera far enough? I don't even know. Yeah, it is. This video is so far behind, it's ridiculous. I got to figure out how to fast forward YouTube. Does anybody know how to fast forward YouTube on a computer? I know spacebar is how you pause it. How do you fast forward it? I'm like 20 seconds behind on the live because it keeps accidentally pausing the video every time I touch over to Facebook. YouTube, don't let me down. How do you fast forward, guys, on a computer keyboard? All right, that'll be fine. All right, so from here, it's gonna be this one right here. No, it's not this one. This one can go down there. We're not doing that. We get ourselves confused. We're using this one. So let's twist this wire around and pull this dimension up. I'm going to tape this a little bit further down where I'm going to cut this tape right here. Just because I've got the tape to do it and it don't hurt my feelings. If you ever work with this stuff, be prepared to run through about 2 or 3 rolls of tape. Don't buy the expensive stuff for this. Just buy the cheap stuff because the expensive stuff leaves residue. So, where's my knife at? There we go. Now we got what we need. Now this vise is absolutely in my way for me to do my work, so I'll have to put it down and pick it back up. Maybe that'll be the right shot. We'll see in a moment. Let's see if I regret this. The reason I say that is my toe is about 3 inches away from where I'm dropping that. That would have hurt. All right. Oh, 400. Dang it. I missed the message for the 400. I'm sorry. I didn't see that till just now. Well, let me finish up the 7/8 this end, and I will go straight to 400 because I could have went to 400 or 393. So we'll be doing 400 on the next end as I finish this. I do apologize. I did not see that 400 till just now. Anybody who is confused, this is 7/8 Hardline. This is an EI flange, and we're putting that on here. So I measured this and cut it back about 20. Where's my out? So we're gonna modify this cut. Remember how I said I like to be on the high edge, and I thought I did a great cut before? Well, I did not. So we're gonna do a great cut, hopefully, and skip the whole Dremel section. So the way you'll want to do it is you'll line it up like this. Something right here. I don't believe we got it. Let's see if I made a mistake. Luckily, this is not the only connector I'm doing. Or excuse me, the only cut that I can do. This is not my final cut, so it's not as critical. So let's not be stupid. We've already cut myself one time on a video. Alright. So we'll just cut this. I'm cutting away from myself just because I don't feel like dealing with any sort of, well, it's too small of an end. Let me grab it. You'll see why I'm doing this in just a second. but we'll just have to be careful. This thing's a little sharp, so. As long as I got the groove started, it's not too much of a worry. All right, so pull this back, show you guys how this works. So what I just did right here was I'm using this piece right here to, before I cut anything else, to inspect my cut and see if it's the way I want it to be. So I run this flange out right here, take a look. Should be fine. I should be able to work with this. So it's I would say it's about a half a millimeter, but I could have did a little bit better than what I did. But it's one of those things that kind of falls within the realm of tolerance. What I'm doing is I'm building a flange. If I can build a flange feasibly with what I'm doing, there's no need to have to cut again. So that's what I was measuring. Uh, again, for the guys that missed the fun band-aid earlier, that was a slight miscalculation, we'll call it. That's better, 22. Put that to 0. And then we'll see where that gets us to. And we'll run one more edge out right there. Should be pretty good. See, we'll try this again. Tried this earlier and see if I can cut it straight. I doubt that's going to be perfectly straight, but it's okay. That's the cool thing about having a razor blade or a knife. You can always cut it again. But we're going to follow the line and see what we can do. All you're trying to do is make a little template. I'm sure you could probably just grab like a, probably something like an O-ring and throw it on over there. You can also use, if you're doing like an actual cut to the jacket itself, you could use a guide tool if you're cutting through the whole piece. Um, if you're really good with some black tape, you could make that as a line. There's a bunch of different ways you could try to make a line. Personally, it doesn't really matter what you do. It don't hurt my feelings any which way you choose to go about it. But the goal is just to cut a somewhat straight edge on the base. It does not have to be perfect. There is absolutely tolerance built into the connector itself. You do want to try to like give, again, try to keep some degree of like tolerance in your design though, or in your cut. That is not really your design because it's their design. All right, pull this edge off right here. I am in a weird place right now. It is warm in here, but it's supposed to be like 40 degrees tonight, so I'm not about to turn the air on. But man, like that perfect in between heat. I got a little fan somewhere, but I don't know where it's at. It's way down there. I think I have to plug it in. Is it just unplugged? Anyway, that goes to there, there. Yeah. All right, we're gonna be a cheater. I'm gonna freeze in just a minute or two. Yeah. Sorry, I had to get some airflow going. This it was getting hot. So now, can you guys see all this? Looks like you guys can. We're doing pretty good. Waving a hand 301. Hope you're doing well. So now, All right, so what I'm going to use is this edge right here. Let's see if I can do this. Try what I think I did this before. But all the way around this edge. No, that'll cut it. So I don't want to do that. Go around here. All right, that worked. Lost almost no material at all. See if I went far enough. If I didn't go far enough, I'll go down one more edge, but we'll see in a moment. So what I do to straighten this out right here is just trying to squeeze in the sides with the brass right here. So I just push in on this side right there, and then it lines up, goes down. So locks into place right there, and then I get to build a flange. Oh, hang on. Got a little ahead of myself. Remember what I said about that piece right there. Just gotta squeeze this in just a smidge all the way around, especially on this connection, and make this thing slide all up in there before I make that mistake. Another cool thing about this design is whenever I do that initial cut, it pushes my dielectric down a little bit, and then it gets it out my way for this flange. So I actually don't have to do any of that shaving you saw me, you guys saw me do earlier. It worked out literally perfect. Holy crap, that's great. And then I gotta open up that center conductor with just this round piece right here. And now we have our flange. So I'd like to do another step if I want to be. I don't know if I should or not. I don't think I should. No, let's not do it. This will lock a little bit. I was thinking about doing something a little bit extra that I've done on. I can do on some of my Teflon videos, but you can't do that on this video. It'll damage the dielectric. So I might mess around on one of my own wires, but I'm not gonna play around on a customer's wire and try something. Um, if I'm not sure about it working. Now, if I think it's an improvement, I'm gonna try it. I've done multiple upgrades live before. I've made a connection better than what it was to begin with. Uh, Alrighty then. I think we should zoom in. I think you guys might want to see. I don't know. 305, waving a hand. Hope you're doing well. I think we're gonna be able to get rid of the vise with this part of the test because we have water below here, so there's no need. And also this mat can take a lot of heat. So I think we're gonna try to avoid the vise for this part of the video. That's a perfect little edge too for that to sit in. That's so awesome. But now we'll just sit that right in there, let it preheat. Only goal is to have that preheating while it doesn't come down and hit my diagram leg. YouTube, you guys let me down. Y'all didn't tell me how to diagram fast forward this video. Alright, hand in, hand out. I would say it's probably, no, it's probably still good 10 seconds behind. Alright, whatever. We'll fix it later. Now we'll get our torch and get to work. I'll zoom in nice and close for you guys to see. Kind of want to see over here. I would say the one negative about it being low right here is it puts it susceptible to the extra. This flame goes well beyond where the end of this goes to. So you guys can see if you look closely. All right, that should be hot enough. Now we're gonna get our. All right, so I'm gonna have to pull back just a little bit for this part because this is a lot of movements for me, guys. But forgive me, don't get mad at me. But we'll do some RG-400 and some RG-393 right after this. All right, so now nice and cooled off. Let's add a little bit more because of the. Oh, there we go. Nice and warm, right? Now let that cool off right there because I made another. Trying to rush it a little bit. So we need to get some preheat on the corners of this. All right, that's nice and warm. This is gonna be a little too much, I think. Let's do a little bit more preheat here. This is not quite as hot as I want this to be. It needs to bond immediately to this connection. So, I gotta make sure it's bonded all the way through. It didn't connect. So when you hear it connect, you'll see what's happening. So you'll hear a kind of like a I don't know, a grinding kind of sound, like a grippy sound. You'll hear it get a hold of it. It should be plenty warm now. Mm. So this is a saddle and a half on this one. Yeah. And now throw some cool on this one. I definitely want to cool this one off a little quicker. There we go. Because I don't want this end being so hot for so long. Pull that off. Now, we've already done this. Line this piece up. Let's see if we can get over this overlay. So what happens when I have too much thermal expansion on our Teflon is it won't line up on our body. Only negative about doing this, it's great and it works wonderful and it connects and bonds very well. But man, is it a pain. It's a lot more effort than I really should put into this build, but it's part of it. I mean to knock that camera away. So what I do whenever this happens, because it did happen on the last one that I did in the past, I gotta measure with my caliper. When that I put that extra heat on, like you see I had to do right there. What happens? Where's my caliper at? I'll measure right here. And I get 23.5, maybe 23.6. It's just and in order for that to fit inside there, we need to be 23.19. So we're literally point like 3 or 0.4 millimeters from being able to slide from that slight little expansion right there. So what I do is I just go around the edge and just cut it off. Use this the Dremel tool, nothing special. I've got this head right here that I use on the tool. Typically, if I can do that method where it just slides in the first time, it's great. But if I have to do the other, if I have to do a little bit more work. But I think it's worth the extra payoff of having that connection soldered. It's just important. It's really part of it. The design, in my opinion. I wouldn't probably wouldn't run this type of connector with this without the soldered. I mean, I would probably if I was in broadcast, but oh, no. So I was gonna try to see if I could line it up with this, but no. I gotta go through the little bit harder process. It's not crazy. Set that up. I wanted to try something to see. It's less than half a mil of material, so it shouldn't be a lot. But safety glasses are fogging up. All right, there we go. You have to learn. Watch me not be cocky and say this real quick. Give me a second. Yeah, you have to learn how to roll with this stuff sometimes. Every time you put a connector on, it's not going to absolutely work out perfect. Every time you put a design together, it's not going to work out exactly the way you want it. There's always some degree of flex you have to deal with. There may be a slight miscalculation in measurement from the manufacturer. There may be an extra temperature coefficient that you weren't calculating. Like I just added in line with what I did. Like there's always something. So keep in mind, you gotta just be able to roll with it. This right here lines this connection up. Centers everything in nice in place. And there we go. Got our bullet in. And this bullet's not going to stay. It's just going to, one of these bullets is going to get pulled out, and that will be the end of that connection. We're going to use one of these O-rings, one of these set of screws, and that's how this is going to set up. So now this connection is, for all intents and oh, here you go. Try to pull it off. See if there's anything wrong with my design. Fucking under any level of strength, pull it off. It wasn't connected right to begin with. All right, so try not to lose my band-aid and keep on working. Well, we're going on to RG-400 next, and we're going to finish that up. Any of you guys who don't know what RG-400 is, it's like a Teflon-based coax. So it uses, it's not technically a Teflon coax, really, to be honest. It's actually a fluoropolymer. So what it uses is an FEP jacket, a fluorinated ethylene propylene jacket. It uses and then you use a Teflon dielectric, polytetrafluoride. Polytetrafluoride? Yeah, I don't know. No, polytetrafluoroethylene. There we go. That's what PTFE actually means. It's a fluoropolymer. It's in the same family as PVDF. PTFE, of course, is what it is, and it's the same family as FEP and a few other designs. All right, so we'll put our little leaky water piece down there. We'll set this harness aside, and we'll move on to the small stuff. This stuff right here that I'm using is used in broadcast. The small stuff that I'm using is used like in aeronautics and aerospace. So we'll move back over here. We'll clean up this mess real quick and just make room for what I'm about to put over here. So it's going to be these other wires. See how bad my precision's off with this thumb not working right. All right, so let's set some of these parts over here. I guess I'll put them near this section. Still got to do one more connector on that, but I'll do it later. I don't have time at the moment. I'll fiddle with it, man. Let me zoom out so you guys can watch me get my bench clear. Made some mess over there. It's a mess over here. I got bird everywhere, all kinds of stuff. But anybody wants any bird meters? Anybody wants any dummy loads? I got all kinds of crap. I've got from 600 watt all the way up to, actually I got, what is the size? 2 watt. I have 2 watt all the way up to 80,000 watt dummy loads. If anybody needs any of those, just let me know. I need my this is going in here. I try to consolidate all my parts to specific areas. You know, time will tell, I guess. So now, these components, I'll leave these out because I'm probably gonna work on that more later. I'll leave all my 7/8 stuff over here. This I'll need for my 400. This I will not. I'm gonna put it away. I'll need this for 400. I'll need that for 400. I'll need this razor blade for 400. I'll need that pick for 400. I'll need this torch for 400. I will not need this bundle of solder. And I will not need this crap on this mat. Real quick. Let me wipe it down. We don't have to be perfect. I'm not trying to win a beauty contest here. All right, this one is complete for one customer. This one needs to be complete. This one also needs to be complete. This is not going to get done today. I've got to wait on a special part to come in so I can show you guys something cool. This right here needs to go back in there and look like it's being useful. You need to at least look like you're working. There's a button that broke. This plastic. This one's the one I'm using, but that one, actually, this is the one I'm using, but the freaking button broke on it. So the button's useless, but it does what it needs to do. So I'll do these two first. This is already done, and then I'll do these two after. If you guys would like me to go through the steps of measuring with a caliper, I will. But if you guys don't ask, then I will just go through it like normal. Let's zoom in nice and close. Tools and connector or wire, excuse me. So, all right. Da, 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 da. I don't know if this is a good spot for you guys to be. Maybe this is a little better. Maybe. Maybe. Go to a post. All right, but I'll do it later. All right. Thanks, Benjamin. Appreciate the subscribe on YouTube. I don't really get to respond to the guys that do that too much on my lives because I'm too busy looking at them and it doesn't tell me when you guys subscribe. But absolutely, I appreciate you guys hopping in there and subscribing. Thank you guys on Facebook that follow me. I know there's a bunch of you guys on there, a lot more than it's on YouTube. Uh, but I appreciate all of you guys for sure. We're doing this one as a split feed, actually. I just remembered that. I'm glad I remembered it now. So we need this right here. So this is a Teflon UHF connector, a PL259. So I can do a lot more than I can your traditional Amphenol. I like Amphenol. I carry Amphenol. There's Amphenol right here. I have Amphenol unobtainium Teflon down there too. But your what is it? 182 SP1 or whatever the heck it is. Those are good, but they're just not ideal for what I'm doing here. Let's just say that much. So my feel is off because my thumb is full of tape and shop rag. That's my field band-aid right there. At the very beginning of the video, I cut my finger. So, quickest way to get a double braided uh, jacket split back is just get a pick. I did it by hand quite a few times. It would have been a nightmare right here with my thumb the way it was. I would have had to throw a band-aid on or something, but this pick works out pretty great. All right. I only got a couple of you guys saying hello on YouTube. You guys feel free to hop in there and say whatever. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see more. Wait, like that. And I'll show you guys how this RG-400 is put together. I do these builds all the time, so if you guys like it, I hope you enjoy the video. There's some guys that have absolutely no clue what I'm doing, and other guys that know exactly what I'm doing. I cater to both of you guys and everybody in between. So if you got questions on YouTube or on Facebook, feel free to hop in there and ask. Will not hurt my feelings at all. Flange. Use. And use. Put that down there. So, my chair. It's getting kind of jacked. And I got a really nice chair at another business that I own, and I've been jealous of it, man. I've got to get one down here. It's absolutely a huge waste to spend almost $400 on a chair, but when you sit all day, every single day, dude, you really start to consider spending whatever on a chair. I thought about doing those big Herman Miller, nice, super fancy chairs, but I don't see much use, to be honest. Doesn't fit what I do. At least I'm not in a cushy office job. We're doing some work. Yeah, we're sitting down, but this is definitely a lot more technical and requires a little bit more ruggedness than something like that would. Center conductor is going over the top just a little bit, so I just cut it back, just like that. 305, waving a hand. Hope you're doing well. Looks like we had two 305s in there. YouTube, I apologize in advance. I think my thumbnail broke on my tag on video. It sucks. I need to, I'll have to upload the thumbnail after the live is over. But, hey, that's my mistake for doing it. So whatever. I'll regret it later. At least I did put the section in science and technology this time. So, all you guys who actually kind of like this stuff may find this a little bit more than your general YouTube section. A little bit more useful for you, your viewing pleasure, maybe. All right, anybody want any wire or anything from me and don't feel like messaging me? Just order off the website. It's dwinsrfsupply.com right there. I'm zoomed in super far. I'm super close. I'm sorry about that. Um, I figure I'd make it easy on some people who don't like talking. I had several guys make some orders, and just never even talk to me, never call me or nothing. So they don't hurt my feelings at all. I don't have to sit on the phone with everybody. Don't mind though. Somebody was supposed to call me the other day. What was supposed to call me for? Whatever. I can't. I don't think it was my fault. It, I'm not sure if you can see it or not. Let's zoom in a little closer. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Yeah, so that down there, something like that. There's a tiny little inclusion right here that I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more solder and clear it up. Uh-oh. Sorry, I got a little distracted. That's good enough. No big deal. Somebody just messaged me or something on my thing, and it sounded like my headphone was dying. So that's what I was worried about. Yeah, no, it was just a text. Make sure nobody's dying over there. No, we good. Somebody's dead. Time to get some more work done. Are we in the right spot? Kind of. Right here. So see, I have a little bit of heat on it now. Makes that little bubble of solder. So what we do We just heat that up. And we watch that connection, that solder. And what happens to that solder is what determines what we do next. It's all nice and wicked in. So now we know our connection is preheated, and we can add solder. Da 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 da. Roll that sucker around. Go on to the next joint. With it nice and hot, I continue on. And next. Hopefully this is staying pretty centered in the video because my YouTube's about 15 seconds behind. I made a little line mark last time in the past. Not last time, but several videos back. I made a little X marks the spot for my video. And there we go. Bonded all the way through. Water was just being a little extra. I don't have to do water. That's how she works. That one's finished. Now we're going to do a split feed. So for a split feed, we will not be able to stay zoomed in that close. That should be about right. What'd you say? I am. See you in the morning. What'd you say there, Cletus? You're coming in the morning, Lord, you. All right, you'll have to. Whatever. We'll get to it. I'm gonna try to make something happen that I may not have been planning tonight, but we don't do it anyway. Might as well. All right. Anybody else? Actually, let's go ahead and do this. From here. And we're gonna start our edge right here. There we go. I don't know if I want to do this or not, but let's do it. Whatever, let's try. I may come to regret this decision. You may end up deciding to do something different. I feel like this is. I haven't tried this specific uh, methodology before, so let's try. Where's the flat? No, it's a pick. I need my flathead. I got a bunch of yellow-headed screwdrivers one time, and then I got a bunch of picks that have the same yellow head. That was a mistake. So if this don't work, I'm going to do something different, which is going to be extremely similar to what I'm doing right here, but just a little different, not much. And I'm fairly confident that's what I'm about to do. Let's see if I can do it. I want to, just a personal little ambition here. On a flat head. I can always rebuild part of a braid. If I got some of the braid still on this contact, then it will be better. I can't do that. I gotta get where my needle nose at. I didn't think I was gonna be using these today. Sorry, I'm out of the shot. I did it. No, that split feed's not probably not that easy to do, so I probably wouldn't recommend everybody to try that because that was a little bit of a pain, to be honest. If I was to suggest somebody to do a split feed, I would suggest to do the wrap method that I've done on the 393. I'm not gonna, this next split feed that I'm doing, or this next 393 I'm doing is not split feed, or else I'd show you guys how I do that. But I've done it on a couple videos, so just go back and check out the other videos. Right. Now, this makes the base of this connection right here kind of weak with what I'm doing. It's fine for as far as the split feed's concerned. I was not worried about that. But you have to have this movement right here in this connection. If you don't, then this right here will end up failing because that's now rigid. So keep that in mind. So that's how this is going to set up right here. I grabbed some smaller connectors. This is not a mechanical connection. This is going to be purely electrical connection. So anybody who tries to hang on this connection like a monkey and it rips and breaks, that's not my fault. It's not made for that. So I've got this isolated, and I'm pretty sure I've got a lot. There they are, right there. I've got a whole pile of terminals real quick. Let me get some out. Making a mess. Now I assume that this customer is going to want a small center and a larger shield. if they want a smaller shield, all they got to do is put some reducers on it. The center on almost every single connection I've ever seen has always been smaller. If it's larger, they can drill it out to a larger connection or just change this terminal out. It'll go up to 5/16 with no problems. So, uh, all right, my Bluetooth is trying to die, so I gotta hurry up and try to get some of this done. You guys said it didn't mess up my audio whenever I went to one ear anyway, though. So let's look in real quick and see. Oh, I can't see. What's my charge? I don't know. All right, we're gonna put the one that beeped in my ear. Charger. So it's charging now. See if my audio got degraded in any way. If it has, I apologize, but I can't make my Bluetooth stay alive the whole time. We're gonna grab this pile of solder we have up here. Move this up just a little bit. It's still in the shot. It's a little bit, but slide it over there. Let's not do that. So it's easy to do this if you're not paying attention. Almost, thanks. Split feed is ready. Da-da-da. That's how she sets up. Let's zoom out real quick so you guys can see it some more. Pull the camera out, actually. Copy that one of us is lagging. Is anybody seeing any lag on this live? Please let me know. If you are, then I will have to address it from there and fix it. If any of you guys can spot my mistake, you'll see that I prepped this previously. See if I can get this off. Might be fun. So this is already done pretty much, but we're going to go a step further and pull this junk off. I can cut it off if I have to. No, I'm going to have to cut everything off. Ain't no way. So I don't feel like dealing with it any other way, so I'll just chop it. Choppy, choppy. Anybody ever make a mistake with this? You just do this right here. Well, I say that, but I normally do it with a shorter tool. Let's see if this Klein works better than Milwaukee. So that's a Milwaukee. Let's try Klein. Ah, Klein's better. Not a lot though. Just a little bit. Let me get a bigger cutter real quick. Where is it at? Gonna be. I don't think this is gonna be strong enough. That's for 10 and stuff like that, and I don't really want to damage that. This is for a different type of metal, but we'll see if it works. It works. Now this one's Milwaukee. Now the other one I'll have to cut off with a Dremel. I'll deal with it later. But if you ever make a mistake, that's something you can do. I don't do that very often, but whenever I forget that I had to do a split feed, then it can happen. So that's the split feed. That's how she looks. I gotta cut this piece off of there so I don't have to deal with it. And then we're gonna move. I've got to get two more pieces of 393 done tonight, and then I gotta finish. I guess that'll be the end of the video after the two more 393s. It is fun. A lot of guys like 393, so that's a cool little piece to be able to show you guys. RG-393 is some really unique cable. Oh no, my Band-Aid. I ripped my Band-Aid off. Let me build a new one. It takes me about 30 seconds. So, anybody want to know how to build a Band-Aid? Off a bench, just grab a little bit of shrink rag, throw it on top of your hand. It helps if you got some alcohol sitting around, and preferably not the moonshine version. Well, I guess moonshine would be ideal. But isopropyl alcohol is what I mean. Wrap it on top of that thumb, and then don't pull tight, because if you do, you'll have to pull off your Band-Aid. It won't work. And there you go. Homemade Band-Aid reapplied. Pull just a little bit too tight. Let it go on there a little looser. 393 times 1 and times 2. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to get done. I have actually got several more builds to get done after this. Um, but they're very, very early on. So you guys won't see no more of them, not for a bit. And then I've got two more harnesses that are getting shipped in, and then I'll be working on them. And then, of course, all these have to be shipped out. Let's get 1, 2. That's pretty cool. See that thing going to spin. Now I'm gonna have something that's gonna drive me nuts for a while. I'm gonna have one extra ring for center conductor because I had to cut that ring off. That's gonna drive me nuts for a little bit. All right. So the way I do this, of course, is just line it up. I'm treating my thumb like it's a gimp over there. Cut that back. Just eyeball it. You could measure it if you haven't done this enough. Um, if you make a mistake, it's not super critical unless you're doing critical measurements like me. Um, all right. Pull this off. Definitely going to work with a smooth daggum razor blade, especially if it don't work with a grippy snap-on. That's the cool thing about having a low, extremely low friction coefficient, which is what this type of material has. Not quite as good as Teflon. This piece right here is, but the FEP, fluorinethylene propylene, is still very, very good. Does a good job. I've built enough of this so I can. Oh yeah, look, I always forget about having another pair of uh, needle-nose. All right, zip ties on. My piece is in place. There's a tiny little strand of material I had to pull out of there. Out of the shot. Let me get back over here. Sorry, guys. It's not my intention to make these videos where you guys can't see, but I don't have this freaking super cool drone that follows your head movements, and it wouldn't even be able to follow mine because my head's not even in the shot. Would be pretty cool though. Now there is some settings supposedly on this gimbal that allows me to kind of stay tracking certain directions. Oh, 305. I forgot. Sorry about that. 111, I thank you for your feedback there. You're talking about lagging. 305, it was yours lagging. Jeez. Oh, Lord. Wasn't paying attention. I did not read that message. I was telling freaking 111, thank you for, uh, geez. That's funny. All right, so now, hello, you YouTubers. You guys want to know how 393 works? This is what we're working on right here, RG-393. And clearing off some of this top edge right here. You guys missed the 7/8. The 7/8 happened earlier. We're doing a build on this wire. If you guys would like to know what it is, what type of wire it is, like what the heck coax wire even is, if you guys don't know that, feel free to hop in here and ask. If you guys are well aware and already know everything, feel free to don't tell me nothing. No, feel free to hop in here and say something anyway. I don't care. Tell me what when you first figured out about RG-393 and what it was. And give me something to talk about anyway. All right. YouTube. And if you don't have nothing to talk about coax wire wise, just say hello. Would you guys like me? And the other question is, would you guys like me to zoom in so you guys can see what I'm doing down here? Pause my own YouTube video again, but luckily that doesn't pause it for you guys. Zoom in, might as well. Let you guys see what's going on. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Cancel. Zoom. Cancel. Bam. So now I'll try to hold this still, but I'm not perfect. Especially if you realize that this whole wire is being held up by my pinky finger. All right, my pinky's giving out. Can't be doing all that. It's a little too much. Now, give yourself a rag. Take the booger off. And now we need to do a little X marks the spot. I'm gonna mark X right here. I have a pen here somewhere, I'm sure it's up here. So if we do this X marks the spot right here for you guys, then what it allows me to do is allows me to stay lined up with the camera at least. And we're gonna, just because I can, zoom way in there so you guys can see how to solder. For the guys that know how to solder, all power to you. For the guys that don't, here's the time to learn. You see how this is not wicking in, it's just sitting on top. What I do is I take a little bit of heat right here on this torch, and you'll watch it wick in. So it kind of sucks into that joint. And as it wicks in, I add more solder until it bonds. There's a reason I don't put too much heat, because it'll suck all the way through from one end to the other, and it won't bond the way it's supposed to. It'll just wick to the lowest point. And that's not something we're looking to do on this type of connection right here. So just roll this booger around. I'm trying to stay on X marks the spot, but we'll see how this goes with this thing sitting up in the air right here. Just kind of tough. I wish there was like two camera angles where you guys could see what I was doing, and then I could stay in this zoomed in spot too. I think it would be pretty neat. Shot. Looks like I got about 3 or 4 inch, 3 or 4 inches of play that I can work with a little bit for you guys before I fall out of the shot. So again, add solder to the source, not to the iron. But you want it to wick in to the location you're soldering to. This is going to be the hardest one to show you guys, because I'm going to have to try to hold it up in the air and keep it in the right spot. All while holding this wire nice and still, which I'm doing a miserable job at. And then I'm just going to tidy that one up just a smidge with the heat. Oops, I couldn't reach it. All right, let's zoom in nice and close. Let's clean off my connection. So where am I at? Right here. See this? So then we're going to work it around. Try not to burn your fingers. We want to run a couple layers of, there you go. You bond it all the way through on everything. That's hot. Try not to touch it. But yeah, it's bonded through on every joint. Zoomed back out and out of this awkward location. Line this gimbal back up straight. Right. Now, this piece of 393 is done. So we'll take my ring, put that back, line that motor up, and she bonded. I can go a step further and just run that around there, but then now I gotta add another zip tie over here. I will go ahead and do that because this needs to be shipped anyway. So I'll wrap it up with one more zip tie while I'm at it over here. I can't do that. It's trying to move me over to white zip ties, and I'm not doing that with two black zip ties on here. That'd drive me nuts. All right, that was all finished. So one more piece of 393, and then we'll be done here. And then this piece of 400 can't get done till next week because I got a special connector going on it. It will be pretty cool video. I'm gonna stay zoomed out for this part of the video because maybe you guys haven't seen the bench that we're working with and how I'm doing this stuff. So I'll set it up like that. Maybe you guys will enjoy this shot better than the other one. Maybe you won't. We'll see. So this is how she works. So you take your center conductor. You can, of course, measure this. I've done a few measurements and told you that if you look right up underneath here, there's a press fitting right there. Right at the base of that press fitting is where the Teflon stops. So that's how I measure. You can use a caliper if you want. You guys will see some of these big movements that I'm having to make off the shot to be able to make this thing work. Well, I guess you can't really, but you can kind of get a picture because I'm making like a full rotation on this coax right now. Again, I showed you how the well, needle nose over here, and then we got a just regular pliers over here. It's a neat little tool. Comes in handy. You can get it pretty much any, I think, performance tool or whatever, PT or whatever. I think it's O'Reilly and Park Cities and stuff. But there's other like mom and pop stores that carry that same company part. Again, you got to be careful with how deep you squeeze this. If you tighten it up too much, what ends up happening is you will pull you'll cut into the shield. Is what you'll do. All right, so now there's a little bit of trash in here, so I'm gonna knock it up and get it off of here. Once I get it moving away from where it was with my knife, just a little bit of breath, a little bit of blowing it off, and it'll come right out of there. Sometimes I can pick it off straight with a knife. Other times, a little bit of pressure. There we go. Clean that one up. Now, time to put it on. Maybe you guys. What do you guys? You got YouTube. What do you guys think? Do you like, and even Facebook? Did y'all like this angle better, or did y'all like the zoomed in view better? I would assume the zoomed in you'd like, but yeah, I don't want to assume. Whatever. Looks like you guys like to zoom somewhat, so we'll just pull it over here and zoom a little bit on the X, down, over, down, and then back up, back up. That's close enough. I suppose y'all like zoomed in better. So whatever. So we're soldering a piece of 393 right here. If you guys like what you see, feel free to subscribe. If you guys want to know what this is, feel free to ask. That's what these videos are all about. Center conductor is done. I'm going to look at it real quick. Looks pretty good to me. We're good on that one. So now we're going to grab some of this material that's in our way. Do our solder. Gonna put some heat on here where you guys can see. Well, let's do this one. You guys can maybe see that one a little better. Zoom in a little bit more. There we go. Maybe we'll twist that sideways a little bit. Add a little bit of solder. You want to see it not bonded. It hadn't stuck in or done anything yet. Add some heat, and you'll watch it suck into the joint. And that's what we're looking for. That means we've achieved the appropriate amount of heat. And now we're going to add some more solder while it's nice and warm. Kind of like heating up a hot plate on some SMD components. I'm trying to cheat and do two sides at once. That way I can flip this. Because when I did this earlier, I was having to hold this up in the air on a couple minutes ago on the other wire. It's nice and bonded, connected all the way over to that end. It's sucked in. Same thing on the back side. Suck into that joint really well. All right. So now we'll just use a rag, clean off our slag on this connection. Bring up. Stay on the X. Line it up just like that. That's how she looks. So we've completed 393. We've completed this one, and this one's going to get shipped out. These are going to Hawaii. I don't know where these are going. Actually, these are going to Wisconsin here. This is also going to Wisconsin, and so is this. So these three are going to Wisconsin. These two are going to Hawaii. And the other one is going to Georgia. That big 7/8 harness you guys saw me do. And then this one, I don't really remember where it's going. I think it's going to, I don't remember. And then I got another connector that's going to Dayton, Ohio, and some other stuff going out the door. I suppose I'll pull the gimbal off of this thing, and I'll show you guys this one. So I cheated, and I have a second gimbal. What I can do is I can snatch you guys off of this one, put you guys on that one, hold this booger straight up and down, get it to level back out. Come on, you can go back straight. And then I can move around with you guys. So you guys can see the bench, all the different parts, bird stuff and things like that. Then you guys get to see the nastiness. Let me see if I can get it to twist. Thank you very much. You can do it. You can do it, buddy. There we go. And this is the wire we did earlier. You can see that end. You can see that end. And you can see that end. So that's some 7/8 is what that is. And then we finished some other wire. We'll be doing some more later. But yeah, that was the job today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I think I'll kill the live from here and we'll do some more stuff later. I might do some more work, but I'll probably play some music or do something else. If you guys want some wire, if you guys want anything else, feel free to check out the website, stevewinsrfsupply.com. You can also check me out on Facebook. All right. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. And thank y'all for watching.